We had worked out before how he did it, because we had to film it. We had to film the fake version, but we weren't in any way prepared for quite how much people would go crazy about it, and what a kind of worldwide talking point it became. So that by the time we got around to shooting the resolution, we decided we would fake it, so that the beginning of episode 1 of series 3 is an elaborate series of fake versions. Because really, if you just told everyone in 2 minutes how it was done, everyone would kind of go, it was disappointing. And it was obviously just an opportunity to have a lot of fun with teasing. And then really by the time you get to the real resolution, possibly, it's not really what it's about anymore. So that was the plan. Yeah, we always knew how we were going to do it. It was just a question of how to then film it without giving it away. But luckily, there was so much stunt stuff involved with actually just filming it anyway. No one could really tell what was real and what wasn't. And we also filmed a fake scene where I come out of the hospital and shake hands with Andrew. I said, put Benedict's coat on. Don't go crazy. And we were going to do loads of things like that. I had a plan to have someone dressed as a clown on a wire. But in the end, we didn't have time for them all. Like that. We based really the primary inspiration for their relationship is from the Billy Wilder film, The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes, which is a huge influence on us. It's a wonderful film. And that's the first time that their relationship is much less friendly, in fact slightly chilly. And in fact Mycroft is sort of the head of the Secret Service, really. And that was, we took that lead from Billy Wilder, and so it's a funny thing, really. I suppose Mycroft actually cares deeply about him, but he wants to bring him inside the circle. He wants him in the tent pissing out, as they say. And what he can't really bear is that his younger brother is a wild card. He's a private detective. And he wants, he's a brilliant man. He should be working for the government, as Mycroft is. So it's from a position of caring deeply, but without any actual emotion. But that's, as I said before, it's very important. It's not that Sherlock and Mycroft are not capable of emotion. They clearly are. It's just they choose not to because it's too dangerous. They absent themselves from it, or certainly Mycroft does. And Sherlock, I think, is tempted more often. Oh. Well, I'm very fond of the introduction of Sherlock in the first episode, and we had a bit of a battle trying to convince the BBC that we could hold out that long before you see him upside down with the zip from the body bag. But it tells you everything you need to know. I love the swimming pool end of The Great Game. Scandal in Belgravia is my favourite episode. I love it. And then I suppose, and obviously the end of Reichenbach. I'm just choosing everything. There's only 9 episodes. I love them all. We can't really. It started. We ended up doing 90-minute episodes solely by accident because we made a 60-minute pilot, and that was going to be the format of the series. It's going to be 6 hour-long episodes, and I think if we'd done that, everything would be very different really about it. We'd probably do, we'd do one where it was mostly Dr. Watson or one where Mrs. Hudson investigated or something like that. But then the BBC asked us if we'd do it as 90-minute episodes. Primarily because they'd had a success with Wallander, with Kenneth Branagh, in the same format. So once we'd worked out that was how it was going to be, they naturally took on a kind of film-like feel and scale. And when you're telling stories that big, that's how it has to be, really. So writing 3 films is quite a lot of work, and then getting everyone together, increasingly difficult to get everyone's diaries to align. So we couldn't really do more than 3 every couple of years, I'm afraid. I mean, we'd certainly like to reduce the time, but by the time we've finished and then everyone starts gearing up again, it roughly takes about that long. Well, they are really, that's the thing. I mean, some of them are based much more on the original stories than others, but the bulk of, the bulk of His Last Vow, say, there's a little bit of the structure of Charles Augustus Milverton and a little bit of His Last Vow, but most of it is new. Most of The Great Game, the Blind Banker, they're new stories. So we've never really thought about it in that way. We pick and choose bits and pieces. Sometimes, as a rule of thumb, I'd say that the original story could sort of make the first 15 or 20 minutes of a 90-minute episode, but after that you're on your own. So, I mean, they're all already largely new. We'd sort of also certainly think about everything being canonical, really, all the different versions. There's a particular thing in the Reichenbach Fall when Moriarty is walking up the stairs and Sherlock's playing the violin and he stops and Moriarty stops and then he starts playing again, and that's from one of the Rathbone films, The Woman in Green. It's just a brilliant piece of filmmaking. We thought, we'll have that. Thank you very much. Dr. Watson's Bull Mastiff. We haven't really thought about it. We've got a bloody baby in there. What do I do about a dog as well? Maybe the dog could eat the baby. Brilliant. Thank you. Sherlock is a very particular thing because it's a passion project of Steve and myself. I'm often asked, what do you want to bring back next? I don't want to bring anything back. I want to do new things. It's just very, very hard to get them off the ground, unfortunately, because people automatically respond to an existing brand, and Sherlock is the most famous brand in the world. Well, we're very lucky because Arthur Conan Doyle was a genius. So the foundation of our series is brilliant writing. But the important thing is to just keep going along our own furrow. It's not to be aware of thinking this is getting bigger and bigger each time, because I think if you think like that, you go mad, and also you probably start to make it too big or too sort of bombastic. We made a conscious decision with the 3rd series to make the first 2 stories quite a lot lighter, because episode 3 is very, very dark, and it's about actual character development. Sherlock Holmes can't be the same person every single year. He has to change, just as he did in the original stories. He becomes more human, never quite like us, but he does become more human. And Dr. Watson becomes he gets his spirit of adventure back. Equally, you can't keep having Dr. Watson being astonished by Sherlock's deductions, because he gets used to them. So you need new people to kind of come along and be amazed. So the whole thing has to broaden out and develop, and that's what we're trying. That's all we're trying to do is to keep it broadening and developing. An internet rumor. It must be true. Incredible. What is it? I mean, is Tom Hiddleston going to play a 3rd Holmes?
That's a possibility.
Well, I'll ask him if you like.
We'd like to see that.
Well, it's an internet rumor, so it must be true. I might as well just wait and see what happens, I suppose. Well, Tom would be wonderful in Sherlock, I'm sure, but he only does movies now, what can I say? We are obviously aware, usually because I get about 150 this filthy pictures every day of what's going on out there. And we don't read them, I'm afraid. We're actually too busy to read our own things, never mind anybody else's. Thank you.